Rants.
Welcome to Brain Candy Podcast, episode 662. I'm Susie Meister.
Sarah Rice.
I noticed when I'm prepping for things we got wrong, and I have to listen to old Brain Candies, like we did that every time for a while.
Eli couldn't believe that we had a theme song when I sang it to him in the car.
You want to launch it?
I sure do. Hello, friends. Welcome once again to the Brain Candy Podcast. It's the best kind of podcast because it's my kind of podcast and it's your kind of podcast and it's our kind of podcast. So it's time for the podcast. So let's get the podcast right now.
Right now.
I think I never know how many.
You can do as many as you want. That's
you can do as many. That's it's kind of like the birthday song. How it's like the annoying part when they like. And Scooby-Doo on Channel 2. And you're like, oh, for fuck's sake. Yeah, that's kind of what we did. Your kind of podcast, my kind of podcast, our kind of podcast, their kind of podcast.
Yeah, that was like our unofficial theme song for quite a while.
Yeah. Like we all sang it. Eli could not believe that everybody sang it in unison at our meetup. And I was like, yeah, they knew it better than I did.
Oh, that's so true. I forgot about that special moment.
Yeah.
I could go for another karaoke meetup one day. That was good times, great oldies.
So good.
How the hell are you? Now that
doing
it's
real well.
November.
Did you see that Eli and I had a basic bitch weekend?
Oh, yes.
And we decided to make it. We're like, let's just lean in. I told him I'd never have like a pumpkin spice latte, really.
How was it?
So... Well, here's the thing. It's like we still
great.
did like the fucking hipster version of it because we went to a place to pick up some coffee beans. And because Eli's like one of those like, we got to like weigh out the beans and this water's at this temperature.
Oh,
I love it because I enjoy a cup of Joe. But I'm like $30 for fucking beans? Jeez, crazy.
Holy
what do they
heck.
do? I know, it's insane. But they had a sweet potato pie spice latte. So I had that, which was not as sweet. It was delicious. But we got the most fun part about this is we decided to like get dressed up for it and wear the most like my name might be like Mackenzie but like spelled different, and I definitely have like knee-high boots on and everything matches and hat and like
I thought
we're
nice,
going to go to a pumpkin. It is really cute.
Yeah, but I don't know what you said you were going to get.
It's definitely different than what like
normal look.
Authentic Sarah is.
Oh, did you feel like you were in
day-to-day.
costume?
Totally. And I couldn't stop giggling. And I was like, people are going to think that I really like in the night before I was wearing like a mesh top with a black bra underneath and black lipstick.
Okay. And that was your real outfit.
Oh, yeah.
That was a true, like what you wanted to wear.
Yeah.
I cannot imagine. There would never be a day in my life where I'd be like, you know what I feel like today? Black lipstick.
It's more of like a dark maroon.
Is it the one in all your pictures? Because that's black. That is black. That is black lipstick. And it looks fantastic on you. It would look truly
you don't know. You haven't yet. Take it for a ride.
Really?
Yeah. It's magical, the black lipstick.
Okay, pack it in Chicago. I'll give it a whirl.
Yes.
I'll give it a little
fun.
Late night drunken lipstick.
Yes. You'll see there's like magical powers to the black lipstick.
Is it matte though? I hate that stuff.
No.
Oh, okay.
The one I have isn't because I don't like that stuff either.
Yeah, I get panicked about it. I feel like I'm buried alive when I wear that. Like
it does feel like your lips are stuck in like a little makeup
coffin,
cage, like a little
yeah.
Oh, speaking of which, when I went to this like haunted house thing that I went to the other weekend, one of the things that they offered for $5 or $7 or whatever was Buried Alive Simulator.
Shut up!
I thought about you.
How are they simulating that?
That's what I was wondering. I said to Eli, do you think it's one of those, like, what are those machine called that you get into? He goes, simulators. And I was like, oh, yeah, that is what it probably is. It's like one of those, like, electric, you get into, they have them like car racing or or motion
virtual
simulators.
Reality, kind of.
Yeah, kind of like that, but more like you're in a car or something. It's like what they do at Universal Studios, or it's like called like a motion simulator or something like that.
Maybe.
I would imagine something like that. And I was like, nah, hard pass. Already did that.
Yeah, you
IRL.
don't need to simulate it. You lived it.
I'm like, here's what it feels like. Terrifying. There you go.
Even for you, and you don't have that phobia.
Right.
I guess everyone has it.
Because you're
totally unnatural.
Your body is supposed to panic in that situation.
Yes.
It's weird if you don't have a very natural physio. This is the funny thing is like,
fears are
sometimes we don't like things that we experience, but we can't get rid of them. And trust me, like getting rid of them doesn't do anything. Like,
you mean fears?
Yeah, like it doesn't. It's not necessarily a good thing.
Yeah.
I wish I didn't feel like this. Well, what's not feeling like that? Like not having a fear response? That would mean you would be very dangerous. Or like, we need that.
Yeah, right. Important. Like remember when
human feelings.
When I was I took Klonopin for some years when I had for restless leg syndrome, and the side effects were like, swear to God, this is literally what it said: compulsive gambling. And high risk sexual behavior.
Oh, yeah. Okay.
But it's essentially that thing that it like decreases whatever that thing is that makes you assesses risk.
That is spooky.
And so, what you're saying is right. Like fears are there for a reason.
Yes.
It's a reason
and
you're
when
afraid
they're not
of
there,
heights.
they're like warning. Yeah.
Right. Nightmare.
Watch out.
Did you see anyone going in that simulation?
No.
I can't see it being a real popular attraction.
No. I didn't see that.
Yeah, I can't imagine.
One of the scariest things they had in this entire like haunted maze thing.
Yeah.
That I did not see coming. I was expecting everybody like popping out and all those guys. They had a floor that felt like quicksand when you stepped on it.
No.
I did not see it coming. I stepped on it and like you're like looking around you thinking people are going to jump out. So you're like your vision is up.
Yeah.
And then I step in this thing that's really it's almost like if they took like silicone and then molded it into little lumps and then put it over. I don't know. It felt like you could, if you stood there for long enough, be sucked into this. It was just the right amount of squishy or it just felt like that in my mind. I don't fucking know. It was
Were you
really
a little bit high?
No.
Oh. Wait, she has to think about it. Maybe not.
Maybe a little bit. Mm-hmm. Yeah,
okay.
Probably.
Maybe that added to
and I probably was probably like a little bit tips. I was coming from the metal tiki bar that I went to.
Sarah's life is so
I know
different from mine.
Listen, to be childless in your late 30s, you have a lot of free time on the weekends that
Honestly,
I understand other people don't have.
When I saw you posting the basic bitch thing, and you guys were at brunch, and that guy had the matching shirt to Eli, and I'm like, it was Saturday, like late morning, and it was clear you guys were like either about to start drinking or had already started drinking, and I was like, wow, we have very different lives.
Yeah, we were about to.
Like weekends are very different.
Yeah, very. I went to the theater of the mind.
And yours is better, just so we're clear. Well, that is the correct option that you've chosen.
There will be no one there to take care of me when I'm elderly.
Yeah, but Lincoln will. You know what I mean? Like, because we're going to be together.
Oh, this is great. Yes.
Yeah, like your Aunt Sarah. Duh.
Yes. Right.
Okay, first topic is, did you sign up for Masterclass yet?
Oh, no, I didn't.
It's time. It's time.
I love this.
I love that Sarah's role-playing right now. She's playing the role of a brainiac because Masterclass is awesome, and if you have not signed up, you are missing out. I love it so much. Actually, as I mentioned, my favorite One is David Sedaris, but after this, I'm going to rant about him because I have a bone to pick with him. However, he's a phenomenal writer, and I love hearing how he comes up with and the process by which he creates his essays and books. But Masterclass has a gazillion experts, like proper experts that teach you
experts.
How to sing, how to play an instrument, how to make a
Survive
movie.
in the wild.
Survive in the wild.
Yes.
I mean, it is so fun. And it's that idea of like lifelong learner, which every brainiac is. I know this. And, you know, you can just do it at your leisure. Like you can just watch them whenever you want for a fun time. It's such a great gift. It is gifting season. So now's the time to start thinking about what you want to get for people. This is a great gift.
My brother got this for me one year. It was my favorite.
It's a great thing to give to people.
Who needs more stuff?
I highly recommend you check it out. Get unlimited access to every class that they offer. As a Brain Candy listener, you get 15% off an annual membership. Go to masterclass.com/candy now. That's masterclass.com/candy for 15% off Masterclass. If you guys get it, let me know because I want to talk to you about your favorites because there's so many good ones that I'm like wanting tips. Like, what do you guys recommend? What do you like? Because I'm just going to watch them all. Okay. Yeah. My bone to pick with David Sedaris is that even though he is a gay man, he is also a boomer and he boomered it up real bad.
Oh goodness.
He did this video. I forget what it was for, maybe Vice or Vulture or something, but I think he was kind of being tongue in cheek, but his point was sincere, which was that he decided he's going to identify as heterosexual because he's sick of like the culture like evolving and words changing. So like when he first came out, he was a homosexual. Then he had to be gay. Then I think there was a third one, and now he's like, and now you guys want me to say I'm queer. Why? Why do I have to say that? Well, it's like, David, you don't actually.
Yeah, you don't have to say anything. And these are more like nuanced terms that allow people to further identify themselves, not all for you.
Right, David, it's not about you. If you want to be called a homosexual or gay or queer, all fine. But this thing where you want to be a heterosexual just because you're fucking pissed that you have to learn a new word or understand the nuance of language, when you're a goddamn writer, you don't understand how language changes and evolves.
Right, I was going to say that. I was like, he's like, of anybody. Sir. Come on.
I understand also that, like, he's a humorist and his identity has been wrapped up in this sort of, like, contrarian thing, which is part of why I love him. Like, he's always, like, cranky, and I get the joke. I do, David. But what you've done is become a stereotype of what happens to old people, where they're, like, sick of learning and sick of changing and evolving. And so they're like, that's enough, everyone. I'm sick of it, so we all have to stop.
Yeah.
What do you think?
Yeah, that's an externalizing of a exhaustion about, like, I don't know, fighting for, to even gain that ability to have that identity or say those things. I think there's just like, I'm tired of having to do this. And instead of that, I don't know, be something that he experiences himself, he just like projects it out. And it's like, it's all this stuff's fault.
And part of why he doesn't experience it himself is because he is shielded from so much because he is wealthy and, you know, is able to work in his own shed, which is what he does. He writes at home in his own shed and goes and picks up garbage all day. That's his whole thing. And it's literally, he goes, picks up garbage on the side of the road. And it's just like, you can isolate yourself so much that you really do lose touch with, like, you know, life and culture and people and suffering. Mm-hmm. Believe me, as a recluse, I can attest to this. You have to really be intentional about not becoming a weirdo.
Yeah, he is definitely walking the line. But
yeah,
I love it, and I don't like what he says about that, but
yeah,
I do love that kind of like, Larry David style. Everything annoys me.
Yeah, we love that.
You also have to. I think it's especially frustrating when it's like the next step or the continuation in the evolution of like the rights of, all people, but like people that he identifies with. Like,
well, and
gay.
At this moment, is that the hill you want to die on? Really?
Like,
that you're mad about the word queer?
It's like just up to right here is like change enough. Like that, just up to where it benefited you and then no more.
Mm-hmm.
Like that, to me, is annoying.
Yeah. I would be more into it if he was like, I don't get it, because that's what I tend to do. Like when I get worked up, I'm like, I don't get it. And then I kind of want someone to be like, here's what it's all about.
Yeah.
But he isn't doing that. He's saying like, so I'm going to be heterosexual. How do you like that? How do you like me now? And I'm like, I don't like you now, David. Stop it. Okay. Yeah. Anyway.
Yeah.
A couple nights ago, I watched the Brainiac recommended competitive dog grooming documentary.
Tell me everything.
Well, so these people compete. I think it's entirely poodles, and they like dye their hair, and then they create things in the hair. Like it's not just like silly, colorful nonsense.
Oh, this is like hair show meets dog show.
Yeah. Do they do themes at the hair show?
Yes.
Okay. Yeah.
And it's like create big, like avant-garde, like sculptures out of hair.
Mm-hmm. It's like that, and it's like themed, so it could be a movie like Harry Potter or Jurassic Park or something. And then you no pun intended, Harry Potter, good one. And like they carve it out,
and it would be Jurassic Bark, obviously.
They did that. They did it.
Okay, good.
Yeah, they did.
Like,
do
not tell
Bark.
me these guys wasted a pun like that.
No, they love a pun, as you would imagine.
Come on.
People that carve into dog hair love puns.
The Venn diagram is a circle.
It's great. It's on HBO, and it's just what it sounds like. But here's what I was struck by when I was watching it. Do you remember when I watched the Michael Jordan series, The Last Dance?
Yeah, and afterwards you wanted a jersey.
That part I don't remember.
Yeah, you're like, I get it. I get why people have Michael Jordan jerseys.
You're kidding me. I'm gonna have to find that clip.
You watched. Maybe it was something about like the Dream Team or something. You watched some basketball documentary and you were like, I get it. I want a jersey now. I want one.
I remember
and I was like,
saying,
Michael Jordan jersey's kind of like, you're like, I want to like. We talked about this.
Wow.
Yeah.
I have no memory of that. I do remember saying after I watched it that it changed my life, which turns out that's not true. But my life is exactly the same as it was before I watched The Last Dance. But I remember what I loved about that series is that you can't watch it and not walk away thinking like, wow, Michael Jordan is excellent, and I love excellence. I get very excited when someone's very good at what they do, whatever that is. And I had the same feeling about this competitive dog grooming. That
we're like, respect.
Yeah, there was this moment where I'm like, holy heck, they are good.
Well, I could imagine. You know how hard it is? Anybody who's tried to just trim their dog's toenails.
Right.
Please.
Right.
I'd gladly hand over all grooming responsibilities to the professionals.
Yes. I was so struck by the artistry and truly, I know it's funny.
Do you have a favorite that you could describe for us in vivid detail, please?
It's more, it wasn't so much, well, they were all great. So there wasn't one that stuck out.
She's like, how can I pick?
Yeah. What struck me was like the thoughtfulness that they presented about like their vision, what they wanted to do, the creativity, which I do not have. Like, so I was just like, wow, I would never be able to come up with what they just made. And it's nice when people are so committed. And it is that thing we talked about last time about community. You know, like these people all like kind of cheer each other on and think like they respect each other's artwork. It's so cute. It really is.
Susie's beaming for those of you who do not have the video version of this.
Part of it is that I know that it's funny. And so like I do enjoy like the weirdness of being
I imagine that these are quirky characters that like they might be the vest wearing type. Would that be an accurate description?
I think they probably have some vests. Yeah.
Yeah. This feels like the vest wearing crowd.
And it's really important to them. And my gosh.
And I don't mean like down puffer, guys. I'm talking something that could also like a magician may wear.
Yeah, they're quirky, all right.
They
it's
may
great.
match like the bandana.
You should watch it though, because it is fun.
I will.
It is fun to just see how, and I don't know how they get the dogs to cooperate like they do, but
I swear there are certain dogs and certain breeds that love that shit, that are designed to like sit and be pretty. And I feel like poodles are kind of,
they have a real patience.
They do. They just, you know, my dog is not anywhere near a poodle, but man, does Bo like to pose for photos.
Well, I think it's about brains. Because poodles are very smart, and
they probably recognize. Oh, that's probably it. They probably recognize the emotional response of the owner and know that makes the owner happy and feel good. So do more of that.
Yeah, they're committed. Yeah. They're in it together. It's a real team effort.
Yeah.
Want to hear some old gossip?
Yeah, old gossip with Susie.
Old celebrity stories, classic drama at its best. No need to wait for entertainment updates. This is gossip from the vintage press. We have the whole story. Let's take a look at those facts. Addicted to drama and you just can't stop it. Well, you better listen to Old Gossip.
Okay, this one I think is going to be a fun one for Sarah because there's a connection to her particular fandom. Are you familiar with Jayne Mansfield, the siren, big busted, blonde bombshell from like the early days of cinema?
Yeah, the name does ring a bell.
You remember that famous picture of that woman, the blonde woman with her bust like falling out of her dress in Sophia Loren, or one of them was like, like side-eyeing her?
Yes.
Yeah.
God,
so she was like Anna Nicole Smith or Kim Kardashian before then. And she was just like an exhibitionist and like tits everywhere, whatevs. But allegedly she had a genius IQ. And real smarty pants, apparently. But what I wanted to share today is, first of all, she's Mariska Hargitay's mom.
What?
Yeah. I thought you'd like that.
Dang.
Dun dun. That was for you. That was special Law and Order.
Good job, Sue.
Thank you. And unfortunately, Jayne Mansfield was killed in an automobile accident. And it was the case where her car went sort of like underneath a semi-truck. So it was
semi-truck slammed on the brakes and she went right underneath or something.
Yeah, and like
or like coming sideways.
I think it was from the back, like and that like the top of the car was basically taken off, like, and there were rumors that she had been beheaded, but she wasn't. But it was horrible. It was a terrible accident. Everyone in the car died. Or no, I think the kids were in the car and they were fine. I don't know. But yeah, like the people in the front seat were definitely lights out. Yeah. But what is really wild is that because that happened, changes were made, and now all semi-trucks have to have a bar on the back to prevent a car from going underneath it, and it's named after her.
This story, I don't even know what fact and what part of it, that was 20 stories in one.
I think you love old gossip too.
Like first of all, a part of a truck that like the murder part is named after you. Could you imagine every single time you drive down the freeway, then you see that truck? If you're like Mariska Hargitay, that you like think about your mom's death, tragic death. Mm-hmm. But then, how good that this thing was invented. Yeah. How crazy that this breaks the rule that I have of like you usually only famous for one thing.
I forgot about that rule.
And
yes, let me see. It was called. Let me see. Oh, the Mansfield Bar. That is still on tractor trailers to this day. Isn't that crazy, Sarah?
Yeah.
Yeah. So a lot happened.
Glad we have that, but that is a tragic way to go.
Mm-hmm. It really is. Ooh. So sad. And, I mean, Mariska really turned out okay, despite such a difficult experience as a child. Yeah. So you're welcome on that. And
I wonder if like, how that inspired her to get into the industry.
Oh my gosh. I'm sure that she's been asked all this, so I'm sure that answer is available because everyone knows that she's the daughter of a famous person from that time.
Yeah, interesting. Good old Hollywood gossip.
Yeah. I'll tell you what is not a rumor or gossip, and that is how great KiwiCo is.
Absolutely.
And I said before, like, the masterclass is a great gift. This is a great gift, too, for anybody in your life that is a child or a kid at heart. KiwiCo boxes are so fun and creative, and they allow your child to have, age-appropriate, age-specific, I should say, play and learning. They're little projects that emphasize, engineering and science and stuff, but the kid doesn't really know they're learning because it's so freaking fun. We have so many, Lincoln and I have done so many of these together, and we always enjoy it, and they are always like a riot, like, because we're like calamitous, he and I. But it's so fun, and we really do learn a lot, and you can give awesome this holiday season with KiwiCo. Get your first month of any crate line free at kiwico.com/braincandy. That's your first month free at kiwico.com/braincandy. And again, all of our partners' info is on our website. So if you're like, oh, I forgot the URL or whatever, you can just check it out on our website and get it there. I highly recommend them. Okay.
Yeah. So it's funny with your family, you said it was like glamorous and like hilarious and all that. It sent my family down a rabbit hole of learning where then we had to learn every single thing about the solar system that there ever was and took up
see, that's on brand.
Yeah, totally.
Like mine turns into like hilarity. Okay. This was interesting. There was an op-ed in the New York Times, and it was I wish I could remember the exact title, but the essence was, why is it that like we associate being a good person with being in therapy, and is that a fair thing to do? So the person writing was saying, I think it was a man, and he was saying that like he went to therapy because he just like, everyone's always barking about how we should all go to therapy. Yeah. And they went in, and the therapist was like, okay, what brings you in? And he was like, I just feel like I'm supposed to be here. So I wanted to like get your thoughts on this movement.
Yeah. I think what therapy provides is, I think about it as like a personal trainer for your emotional and relationship goals. Okay. And not everybody needs a personal trainer to get in really good shape. But sometimes people struggle with having a lack of awareness, a lack of resources, a lack of education, lack of...
Or like a worse starting point.
Yeah. Or it takes more like there's a lot, like what was the foundation? There's so many different things that I think what what's happening is, what that's really saying is what we're recognizing is self-growth. And what people, if we really said, why is therapy important? Why is that something that people are, valuing? What is it? What's the meaning that we make from that? Well, that they're putting effort into themselves. So if that, like, we have to look at what is the ultimate thing that we're praising somebody for. And I think it's that self-reflection and then growth, because it says you want to be better.
Right. Yeah, that's true.
And usually good people want to be better. Or we at least associate somebody who wants to be better with somebody who wants to be good. And in their terms, but what is good, what is bad, whatever.
I associate it with maturity, but really what it is, in a way, is an openness to hearing you aren't exactly right all the time, which is not always easy.
Or recognizing your own role in whatever situation you're in.
Yeah. And you're right, though, that some people can do that process and get that growth on their own with whatever's in their toolbox. Mm-hmm. But wouldn't you argue, because when I'm reading it, there was one line that referred to, like, sometimes when men come, like, they're coming just because they think they ought to, or because somebody told them they need to. And I was like, okay, bingo. Like,
yes.
Almost anybody that said to me, Suze, do you think I need therapy? If I were honest, I would almost 100% be like, yeah, pretty much, yeah. Yeah, you do.
Yeah.
Because being a person is hard.
It is impossible to see things from an outsider's perspective. We only have our idea of how other people experience us. We don't have an actual idea of it. Therapy offers an opportunity for people to have a more, to get feedback about how other people interpret them.
Yeah.
And you can
We've gotten that.
Sometimes you don't ask for it.
We got that thanks to all of you.
Yes. Yeah. But yeah, it's exactly like that. Like, here's what I notice about, and with a therapist, it's in line with what your goals are. And it's usually like, I don't understand. How come I keep having these kind of struggles in relationships? Well, let me show you. Let's talk a little bit about how others may receive what you're saying, or how others may experience you in this situation. And then when you kind of see that and recognize that, oh my gosh, I never thought about it that way. Or it allows you to, like, I don't know, just reprocess things that, but I think that, I remember in school we used to talk about the different kinds of people who come to therapy, and they call them customers, customers, and there's like different names. I can't remember, but it was like somebody who comes, participant, customer, and something else. I can't remember what the last one is, but it's like somebody who has to go, like they have to do like anger management courses, and they have to like check the box of a certain amount of therapy for like some sort of order. Then there are the people who like don't want to be there but are dragged there, like your teenagers often fall into this category. And then you have the people who are like the willing participants who are there because they brought themselves there. Yeah. And it's a very different kind of treatment for each of those, and very different things that motivate each of them. Teenagers are the best because you get to be like, no, you probably shouldn't do anything. Just keep doing what you're doing. I'm good. You good? Yeah, that's good. We're good.
Why?
Oh, because it's almost like reverse psychology in a way works with them. Like it's.
Oh, okay. You just I thought you meant because they actually are getting it right.
No, it's just like what works with teenagers or what. Yeah,
that's
you just go,
great
you probably shouldn't
advice.
Change. You probably shouldn't change. Just keep doing that.
Yeah. Oh my God, this is great.
What would happen if you keep doing that? Well, okay, so you could.
Oh my God, I'm going to do that when Lincoln's Okay, so I had seen this clip of the Duchess Fergie. And it was back when she had a show on Oprah's network, and she went to see Dr. Phil, which I'm not a Dr. Phil fan,
right.
But I was really not a fan during this clip. And I'm sure you don't do this, but are there certain therapists that, like, they make it like a riddle where, like, she's sitting there and I felt like she was totally open and like, yes, please help me. Like, tell me what I'm missing. And he was like, oh, you know. And she was like,
no, I don't like that.
I really don't. Tell me.
I don't like that.
And he was like, no, you know. And it kept going back and forth. And eventually she was like, I really need you to tell me something because you're talking. I don't know what we're even talking about anymore. It got so convoluted.
I would never do that.
What is that? Is that a power move?
I don't know.
Yeah.
I don't know what kind of, like, he's a therapist, yes?
Well, he has a PhD in psychology.
Yeah, but like,
I mean, this is the thing when it's on TV. It's like, this isn't
and you're
real.
doing it for the audience. It's a whole thing.
Yeah.
You know, but I think that you don't want to tell somebody what their experience is. Well, you're thinking da-da-da-da-da. No, but leaving somebody like, well, you know what it is.
It felt like a game. And she even said that. She goes, I feel like we're playing a game here, and I don't want to play a game. No. I just really want... She just wanted help. Anyway, here's
it's more like I'll sometimes leave like breadcrumbs to help, or it's almost more like flipping over. Okay, you know what I think about it as? It is like the like Wheel of Fortune, where you flip over more letters. You're like, okay, well, what about this? Oh, what about this? Oh, I know what it is. It's this. And then you like kind of give them a little bit of like the steps along the way to get there.
Is this to make them think it's their idea or
no?
Oh, I'm
it's
just
more
checking.
No, I never want people to think. I know. Sorry, I didn't mean to check. It's more like it's easy to see what's going on from an outsider's perspective, but like it's more like slowing things down and slowing down. Like we jump from thought to feeling to action real fast. I have this thought that creates this feeling, so I do this action, and that we go through that really, really fast. And it's more like slowing them down and being like, okay, well, what was the thought that you had right before you did that? Like, okay, what was the feeling that you had when you were doing that? Okay, what thought created that feeling? Kind of like breaking that down.
You just hold their hand through the thought process.
Yeah.
Okay.
That's exactly. We're like, that's exactly what. It's the same thing. And you only do that when you feel like they know what they're doing. Kind of like, a personal trainer would, if like.
Yeah, like you're on your way. Let's continue.
Yeah,
okay.
Yeah, and you want to. It's taking the training wheels off a little bit and like.
Okay.
Because you want them to be able to get to that, do those things without you there.
Did you ever have a client?
Challenge irrational thoughts or whatever it is.
Did you ever have a client that like got combative with you? Not physically,
think that every therapist who is a good therapist, first of all, I think it's human nature to push back when
were
things
they
are
ever
difficult.
Right?
Well, I don't know, and I don't know that I'm right all the time. I just I say that I'm never an expert, but I'm non-confrontational to begin with. Like, I'm sure I've gotten frustrated with my own therapist before, but usually the things that I've gotten frustrated about were when, I recognized my role in it. Like, I remember in couples therapy when it was like, she was like, you want a good husband, you got to be a good wife. I was like, I don't want to do that. I want to be the opposite.
You were, though.
Well, I know, but this was in the very beginning. Like,
okay.
this is what she said. She said, if you want a better version of your husband, be the best version of a wife. Like, imagine how the other person receives you, kind of thing. Like, you come home and you already are like expecting him to not do this. Okay, what if you expected something different? If then, after being the best version of yourself, things don't improve, then it gives you all the information you need. And I was like, oh, I see. And then I was the best version of it. Like, I was like, okay, I'm going to give 100% the best me that I know how to do. And if this person doesn't want that, or that's not good enough, or that wants something different, I know I'm out. And so that was helpful. And that was hard for me to hear, because I was like, ugh, I don't want to do that. I want to keep being angry. Mad.
Sarah knows this story. I had seen Bill Burr's comedy special, and he did a bit about how, like, there's always one partner in the marriage that, like, lets the pot soak in the sink, like, you know, and then there's the other partner that actually just washes them. And then which I'm the washer, but then he said, and there's always somebody in the marriage who, like, gets the garbage bag out and then, like, sets it out for the other person to take out, which Adam always takes the garbage out. And I was like, fuck, now I got to take the garbage out, because I cannot let there be anything that he could ever hold over my head. And so then I started doing that, but we have this heavy thing on our garbage can. And so I ended up, like, wrecking my wedding ring.
No.
Like, crushing diamonds.
Feels like a very symbolic thing.
Totally.
The wedding ring.
Right.
Susie, it's like when my mom's dog took a shit all over the wedding dress that I was holding on to because I was going to sell it to get,
Yes.
Yeah.
Truly. And I was like, okay, this is a little much. But that's my thing, is, like, I never want I want to be the perfect version. So then, but my motivation is flawed. Mine is just like, if we ever get into a fight, I don't want him to have any ammunition.
Oh my God, that's so funny.
So fucked up.
Yes.
Okay. Anyway, yeah, that's fascinating to me. Like, if you ever do get into a fight with, like, one of your clients, though, where, like, you think, happen. Okay, but, like, maybe not a fight, but just sort of like a, whatever that is, friction. Mm-hmm. Let me know if you ever think they're right, because I always think I'm right against my therapist.
Well, I always think the client's right, because they're the expert in them. I think that they're and everything that, like, you're the expert in you, and whatever, wherever you are in the change process is where you are, and we don't change a moment before that. So I feel like,
well, because wouldn't you be able to tell the difference between a client who
sometimes
is, like,
it's just not a good match with the therapist? Like, if the therapist is just making, like, guesses about you or assumptions, like, that's it. Like, that's why we shouldn't do that, and you don't do that, and, like, but
a question, that's one thing. When they're like, well, do you think maybe this is true? Yeah, that I can deal with. But when they're like, Dr. Phil being all,
I don't like that. That's not good. That's not good therapy. That's not
he
really
sucks.
good therapy.
Okay.
Don't like
I'm
it.
glad.
Yeah.
I'm glad we discussed this.
Yeah. But like I said, with my own therapy experience, just because you are frustrated with your therapist does not necessarily mean, what they're saying is.
That's very true.
Because most of the time change, like, is hard. Like, I always think about there's no change process really in all of nature and everything that isn't difficult and kind of, like, ugly and hard and violent even in a way. And, like, there's, like, a struggle. Like, have you ever watched, like, a little bird come out of a net, or pregnancy, or, like, the birthing process? Anything, any big change, or anything that is the start of something new, even a seed coming out of, like, a plant coming out of a seed. You look at that up close, it looks like ripping and tearing and breaking, and it's not like, and don't get me started on disgusting moths and butterflies, or, like, the butterflies and cocoon things. That's like a disgusting, nasty goo in there. Blech.
Yeah, right.
Gross change process. And then beautiful butterfly. So what you want? It's going to be tough.
Okay, fair enough.
There you go.
All right, moving on. Oh, we have to talk about that funny thing where the fishing competition where they were putting the weights in the fishes.
No, what is this?
Yeah. It was funny. It was a fishing competition, and the winner was based on the weight of the fish.
Right.
And so these bozos put lead weights inside the fish somehow, and then they got caught, and it's on camera, and it is scary as heck because it started like civilized, like, okay, we're going to have to ask you to leave, like you're a cheater. And then all these fishing guys are like, hell no, we're going to kick their asses.
Oh my, because like the ultimate thing is like, don't lie about, and this is every single fishing person that has ever fished has been accused of
fishtails,
of overestimating the weight.
Yeah,
and so these guys were like, big. You're going to make us look bad. You're going to be like the one person who's like, yes, I get this anger and rage they experienced.
Yeah,
you liars. You're making everybody's going to believe us. Nobody's going to believe us now.
And it was even in the New York Times and everything. Like, this was a huge national story because the prize was $30,000. So, like, you know how we don't like cheaters?
Don't. We hate them.
Like if you win a lot of money because you cheated. Like what if, let's say we were watching this fish competition, they found the weights in there, and then they're like, you win, we're just going to fine you $5. Does this sound familiar?
Yeah. And guess what? I'd be like pissed.
And if you're not familiar, I'm referring to Rivals 3.
Yes.
When that happened to Sarah.
Right.
Yeah, so they did not get the $30,000, which is the correct way to handle cheating. And they might have to go to jail because they, it's like, attempted grand theft.
Yeah. And it's like probably like a premeditated plot to like.
Yeah.
This is like a whole
to take
conspiracy
money from someone
to
else.
Commit a crime or like intent to commit.
They were trying to take the money and run, Sarah. And it's wrong. And they were handled properly because they are facing consequences.
Well, it's nice to know that the fishing community is
it's more ethical than the reality TV community.
That makes sense.
It actually does make sense. It would be weird if it weren't like that.
Right.
But anyway, you got to watch the video because it is so funny to me. Like, I just love it.
Really? If I had everybody from the, like, if everybody who started that season was there at the finish line with me and who had experienced some of the ways that my partner has treated them, I feel like there would have been oh, hell no. Hang on a sec.
Yeah.
That motherfucker's won too many times and he's cheating and you don't want to do anything? Then there would have been a little bit, because I'm trying to think what's happening with the fishermen that's not, they all have experience.
Well, yes, and you're right. You know why? Because these guys had won the previous 3 times.
Okay, and that's it. It's like, not me, right. And so I think maybe if it were people who had lost in the past to him, they would have been like, hell no. Yeah. Just saying. I wonder who those are.
Yeah, so that's hilarious. I love it. And I watched, a Brainiac had recommended this docuseries on Hulu called The Devil You Know. And it's a series, so like this was season 2. And this particular season was about a woman who essentially created a cult, but it was all online. Like she just put out like basically a podcast, and all these people agreed with her about like religion, and she thought that certain people were like fucking reptiles and all this crazy, just true craziness.
Yeah.
It's a very long series, and it's too long. It should have been way shorter. It could have been way shorter. But the reason I bring it up is just because the very last episode, they had on scholars that study conspiracy theories, which when you're talking about people being reptiles and like all this craziness, I mean, that's exactly what this is. Yeah. And they were just helping the viewer understand like what attracts like seemingly normal people into this world. And they were emphasizing the thing that we learned during that documentary about social media and how bad things like saying like Taylor Swift is secretly an alien.
Yeah.
Is more shareable and spreadable than just being like, she's a really good singer.
Right.
And so social media is designed to amplify this absolute lunacy. And when enough people are sort of like, I don't know, she is a little weird, I don't know. And then they go down that rabbit hole of like what the algorithm suggests they view. Yeah. The conspiracy theory scholar was talking about how when you're on YouTube, for example, you have this sense that you're in control, that you're choosing videos that you're interested in, what's appealing to you. But I think they said like 80% of YouTube views are what is suggested to them.
Of course.
And so you are kind of delusional in thinking
there's not a lot, right. You're going to just roll into the next one. It's like going and searching for what song you want to play next or listening to the next song that comes on the radio.
Yeah. And I thought it was really important too, because even when I was in grad school and we would study cults, we studied the traditional ones, the ones that we all understand, like Jonestown or Heaven's Gate or whatever. But it is a different world now. Yeah. And now you don't move to Ghana and start a utopian cult. You go online and watch YouTube and you think, yeah, Lady Gaga is weird. And maybe like QAnon, John F. Kennedy is alive and maybe all that.
You don't have to physically isolate people if you can get them isolated. Mentally.
Yes. And if all of the voices online are saying, yeah, this makes sense.
Echo chamber,
Yeah, man. So I really like that because it was a good reminder to me of like the way things have changed, and we need to really keep updating our understanding of technology with regards to human psychology.
Oh man, this needs to be a far more important or emphasized like field of study.
Mm-hmm.
Like, how we started computer science and that became like wasn't computer science in courses or whatever in whatever time for computers. And then we're like, oh, we need these courses. Well, guess what? Now we need technology ethics courses. We need like some sort of...
Yeah, there needs to be like digital accountability.
Digital ethics. Like that needs to be something that is like in the curriculum.
Well, and they pointed out how
available for study.
The more strife there is in the real life world, so the greater the difference between the rich and poor, for example, like the wealth distribution.
Yeah.
All these people that are suffering, which is more and more and more people, are like looking for the answer of why they're suffering, why they aren't getting ahead, why, they have no money. And so like these online people who say like, here's why, there's this, group of people that are like conspiring and they're aliens from another. It sounds insane, but to them, they're like, thank God there's an answer.
Thank God there's
It's not me.
Right.
Anyway,
this is human nature. We all want the explanation for things that are beyond our control.
Yeah. It's comforting, even though it's insane.
Because control is the illusion of safety.
Mm. How do you know when you're safe then? Like, how do you think?
What a great question. This is like that smoke alarm, the smoke detector we were talking about before.
Yeah.
And how you have to recognize, because it is your body going into this like fight or flight, this response saying there's a danger, but the danger isn't immediate. It's not a danger and you're not really in danger. So you have to like top down say, remind yourself that you're safe. I'm safe. I'm loved. I am here, and like kind of here are my good relationships. Here's what matters in my life, blah, blah, blah. And then physically you connect with your five senses. You go, I'm safe. And safe isn't like, it's like I'm emotionally safe. I'm in this moment. I'm okay. I don't need to worry because like my lungs work. I can take a deep breath. I can see, the colors of the leaves in front of me. It tells your brain that you are not being chased by a lion, or you are not because that's what happens.
It's so hard though when
so hard.
Like charismatic figures say, you're being chased by a lion right now.
Correct.
Over and over and over. And if you keep exposing yourself to that message, then you saying like, you know what, I'm safe right now. There is not a lion. Mm-hmm. And then you say, well, she said, if I don't think there's a lion, then I'm a reptile. Whatever, this crazy talk.
Right. Yes.
And that I can see how people get trapped in that messed up logic, even when it sounds insane. I can see how it happens.
That's why I was listening. I can't remember what it was. Maybe it was something we were watching for the book club that said, if you take a dog, a bad dog, misbehaving dog, and you put him with a group of good dogs, you're going to get a good dog. If you take a good dog and you put him with a misbehaving group of bad dogs, you're going to get a bad dog. Mm-hmm. That we are such a product of the people around us and our environments and the people who encourage like those things and tell you that you're safe or tell you that you're okay. And it's so important that's what boundaries, having personal boundaries are good for. Mm-hmm. And like being able to recognize our individual, importance, kind of like we were talking about in that previous episode and last episode.
And just in general, if you're in any kind of group, be it a religious or not group, where they sort of like vilify entire groups of people and tell you that like you have to be loyal to them or you'll be banished and stuff like that, those are red flags. Mm-hmm. And I know it sounds crazy, like
value that. Yeah, they focus on excluding others more than like including others.
Like if everyone around you says like, I don't know, that sounds a little crazy, because all the examples they had in this docuseries, like there were people around them who were like, I don't know about that. And then they stayed in anyway. Oh, man. You got to really listen to those dissenting voices, even if you are inclined to think everyone else is crazy and I'm right. Just consider it. Like, it's so hard.
Because like that you hear like when we watch the NXIVM documentary and those things and like how it's just a perfect storm if
yes,
certain things line up at the right time. That's why I say I can't believe I have never joined a cult. But it's just the individual leader thing, because I'm too stubborn to follow any one person's orders.
I guess, I don't know. I just want people to know that like it could happen to anyone. Everyone likes to think that I would never fall for that. Mm-hmm. I'm not an idiot. Mm-hmm. But really smart people join cults all the time. Right. And it's like, it really can't happen to anyone if, like you say, the sort of everything lines up at that moment in your life. Anyway, I don't recommend watching it because it's too long and drawn out. But if you're like super into cults and stuff, you might really like it.
Yeah.
Devil, Hulu. Anyway, let's wind it down. Already, Sarah.
So,
I know.
That was so fun. You taught me so much. You know, it's funny. Like I don't forget because like I never forget about this kind of stuff. But like sometimes I think I take for granted that I have such I have literally like the professional sitting in front of me, like the academic, like scholar on this topic, the cult expert.
I wish
my co-host.
The only problem is that like you really have to continue. It's just like being a teacher, or a therapist, where you have to keep taking classes and getting re-updated or whatever they call recertified because, man, I feel it. I feel I've been out of it so long that I'm so out of touch. But I try to stay on top of it. But, man, there's so much happening right now. Right. Politics and religion, forget it.
Forget it.
Forget it. But anyway.
Times they are a changing or repeating themselves. Who knows?
David Sedaris, calm down, sir.
Calm down. Come on.
Competitive dog grooming, thumbs up for that.
Two not opposable thumbs up.
2 paws up.
2 paws up.
Jayne Mansfield, R.I.P., but
learned some facts and thank you for that safety bar.
Mansfield bar is...
Wow, that's so crazy.
It's so crazy. You did a great job of talking about therapy today, as always. Oh, I learned so much. Wheel of Fortune, good one. Good one.
Just kind of like flipping over the letters.
And if you're going to compete in a fishing competition, don't be a piece of shit.
Right. And don't be a liar.
Don't take the money and run. It's wrong. And also, if you're a judge deciding whether someone could take the money and run, maybe take into account whether they've taken performance-enhancing drugs or put weights in a fish.
Right. Just saying. Hypothetically.
Anyway, don't fall for conspiracy theory. And thank you for everyone who checked out our merch, including the Christmas ornaments, the puzzle, the apartment pants, all of it.
Love those apartment pants. Those are cozy.
We love you guys. See you next time.
Bye.
Bye.